Could this be an overreaction? Should the Cubs demote Kyle Schwarber to work on his defense? Schwarber was recalled from AAA Iowa by the Cubs on Thursday. He had two notable defensive miscues, though, in that time. Thursday, dropped a ball in the transfer coming out of his glove, then was unable to throw out advancing runners in a loss to the Brewers. Then Friday, he bumped into center fielder Ian Happ, allowing a pop-up to fall in. Happ, by the way, here's that pop-up. He was charged with an error on the play in the win over the Pirates. Had to track some communication there. Happ coming over, Schwarber clearly underneath it. But, you know, they teach it, Dylan, I mean, even when you're coming up in Little League, the center fielder has it if he calls you off. Schwarber was camped there. So getting back to the question, an overreaction to think the Cubs should send him to Iowa for his defensive struggles.
I think that's an overreaction. I think if you wanted him to work on the whole product, I think if you and I know he's not the best defender because we have eyes and we've watched him play all year long, a catcher trying to learn a new position on the fly with a lot of spotlight around him, with a lot of hype and a lot of criticism heaped on him, it's got to be very tough for Kyle Schwarber. Now, he's a professional athlete. That's what you get when you sign up for the job. And as far as the Cubs, they knew what they were getting into. So to send him down because he's batting in the 170s and say, you got to get that swing back, you got to find that hitter in you, and then not really work on this side of his game that we know is really lacking, I think it is, is short-sighted. And I think when you bring him back up because maybe the swing looks a little better and you don't want him down on the farm for too long, then all of a sudden he's back. And then you send him back. Now, what are you going to do next? Send him back for base running because he gets caught stealing or he doesn't tag up when he should? I think at a certain point, you just got to live with the fact that there's a catcher playing an outfield position. Really, I think what this whole experiment has taught the Cubs, if I were Theo, if I were the Cubs, is you got to move this guy. He's an American League player.
Yeah.
Now, it's tough to move a guy when he's batting in the 160s. Maybe you can convince people that, look, when the stage was the biggest, when the lights were the brightest, after 6 months of rust, he came and he basically helped us win a World Series. We would not be World Series champions without him. He's got it in him. It's in there. The fact that he's flubbing around defensively in a position he's never played and he's floundering out and left, look, Ray, that kind of stuff happens. You've watched a ton of baseball. You know on a transfer when you're excited to throw a guy tagging up, sometimes you don't get it. Sometimes a center fielder and a left fielder bump. Yeah, that comes with reps. You'd like to have your center fielder call you off in a smooth transition of you backing him up. Doesn't always happen like that. I think the Cubs have to live with this in the meantime. Quit messing with him and sending him back and forth. Deal with what you got. And if you feel like you can make the right move to trade him off and get some good pieces in return, then I think you got to move him to an American League team at some point.
Schwarber, a little bit of a victim of timing, too, just called up and having these miscues. You're right. We do see those with outfielders all over Major League Baseball throughout the year. Just the timing not good for Schwarber. I agree with you, though. Let him stay and work things out in Chicago. We'll see what they decide to do.